fellow Vincentians, residents, visitors. The very dangerous and destructive Hurricane Beryl has come and has gone. Oh, sorry, you want me? I'm going live? I'm sorry. Hurricane Beryl, dangerous, devastating hurricane, has come and has gone. And it has left in its wake immense destruction, pain, suffering across our nation at this hour. The faces of men and women are strained and anxious. Hundreds of families uncertain of their future in respect of their housing. Union Island has been devastated. The reports that I have received indicate that 90% of the houses have been severely damaged or destroyed. Their roofs, structures. The Union Island Airport's roof is gone. It's no more. We have not received the extent of preliminary reports out of Mairo and Canawan as we have done for Union Island through a quirk of communication. But we expect that in those areas there's a similar condition. In Bequia, we have had damage, but not to the extent as in the Southern Grenadines. And sadly, it has been reported to Nemo. We do not as yet know all the details that one person died. There may well be more fatalities. We are not yet sure. Given the fact that I'm reporting to you a few hours after the devastation was wrought upon this land, the report is necessarily provisional. But it is important that I speak to you. There are hundreds of houses on St. Vincent which have been severely damaged or destroyed. Roofs are gone. Government buildings, especially schools. There are at least 2 denominational schools belonging to churches, where you have had severe damage. And of course, there are churches. I've been advised, for instance, that the Kingston Baptist Church had its roof severely damaged. We are at a point where we have to work together to rebuild. And we have to start urgently. We are going to reopen tomorrow government facilities. I'm asking the business places to open. Having said that, we in the government, and surely too in the business sector, we have to rely on the sense of responsibility and essentially people's good inclinations and their obligations to help them to determine whether they come to work tomorrow or not. Let's face it, if you have lost your roof, you don't have electricity, and there's still the island-wide blackout on the electricity, and I'll come to that shortly. There are a few communities which do not have water because of the system having been blocked in the case of Oya, or cut off in the case of, say, the McCarthy Southwood area or Chuckins. And you're not going to be reasonably in a position to require, much less to demand, those persons to come to work. Some of them, out of a sense of loyalty to their business and to their jobs, will come. But I'm asking that we restart the reconstruction process tomorrow. Indeed, tonight at 8:30, I'm having a small group from the National Emergency Management Organization, where we are going to look at some specific matters. We have to begin the assessment of the physical situation, the buildings, the river defenses, the sea defenses, what is happening there. We have to look at the overall damage and loss, and that will take some time to make the assessment, but we have to put things in place. I don't want tomorrow morning to start where we do not have the beginnings of those systems for assessment and for work to be done, and for the commencement, for the mobilization of resources. The head of VINLEC, Dr. Vaughan Lewis, Chief Executive Officer, has indicated to me that they're working feverishly, they're working urgently and with focus, great focus, to get the electricity back in certain places tonight, important institutions like the hospital. And those areas where the lines are not down. But as you know, and as you have seen in some videos, the lines, a lot of lines are down. Trees have fallen on lines, and you have to put back the lines. VINLEC has a good crew, they have good leadership, they have resources at hand, and I have all confidence that they'll get back to normalcy as quickly as possible. In relation to the water, Mr. Kwao, the head of the Water Authority, the Chief Executive Officer, has indicated to me that tomorrow the few areas which are without water, they will have back the water. They'll put the systems, correct the whatever problems exist. Of course, another weather system is coming behind this one, and all that is the work I'm talking about is contingent as to whether that develops or not into a full and dangerous system, or indications that it will not be of a kind, of a nature like Hurricane Beryl. Already governments from across the region have been expressing solidarity, and in one case, the president of Guyana has indicated that he will send some supplies which are necessary immediately for doing some reconstruction, especially in relation to housing. And there are a lot of trees which have fallen. We have to get them out of the way. We haven't gotten yet the assessment on agriculture or animal husbandry or what is happening to the fishing facilities, and those will come. That's why I say that tonight we are addressing the matters in a professional sense. Despite the destruction, despite the extraordinary devastation, for instance, in Union Island, and we expect that Myro and Canawan would not be far behind in terms of the extent of damage. And we still have to thank Almighty God for all His blessings. There's one reported death. It appears as though overwhelmingly our people have responded and reacted in a very responsible manner. Of course, there are odd cases where you would have preferred if some persons didn't act the way they acted. But I want to ask everybody this evening, even after 8 o'clock, when I expect the meteorological services to discontinue the tropical storm warning, because Beryl is some 200 miles out to the west of us, that even though the tropical warning will be discontinued, tropical storm warning, we have a lot of debris around, and there's still some high wind, and you have to be careful, particularly in the darkness, where you're going. Let's just stay inside. It's not, we have endured today, it was very bad. We can endure the night, and tomorrow we get up, and we get up with the conviction and the commitment to rebuild our individual lives and our families' lives, and to rebuild our country, to recover. The government has some resources in the contingency fund, which, you know that fund which we had established with a 1 percentage point on the value-added tax on the VAT, which we put aside for the rainy day. We used some of it during the time of COVID. We used some in the time of the volcanic eruptions. And since the volcanic eruptions, and we have used monies there, we have built up quite a tidy nest egg. Well, the rainy day has come, and we have to use some of that money, or indeed all of it. It's not going to be sufficient. So we have to raise other monies. Unfortunately, the way the world is, there are very few countries or institutions which will give you grants. The grants come, they're really small. So we'll have to borrow some money. Of course, we will borrow on very concessional terms. The only problem when you do that is that often there are delays. You're put through the ringer, metaphorically. I'm giving our people a clear idea as to how we have to proceed, how we are going ahead. But I think together we're going to be able to pull through, get over this, rebuild, and continue in a path of sustainable development. We don't know yet the number of houses which have been damaged or destroyed, but the information which is coming in, the number is in the hundreds. Camilo told me, for instance, in just one small area in Glen. Which borders between himself and Curtis King's constituency by St. George. There are 28 families there who are homeless tonight. Just one small area. We have to make arrangements for the housing of these persons and such persons across the country. And as I say, there are hundreds of families who are adversely affected. This is a difficult time, but we have to maintain the patience and calm, and we have to have a good humor. We are a resilient people, and I'm sure that we will roll up our shirt sleeves, and the women also have short sleeves too, not just the men. The metaphoric shirt sleeves in any case. I've got to get to work. So today has been a rough day. It has been a day of much devastation. It is a day, however, that we must thank Almighty God that we haven't had any significant loss of life. I've said there's one reported, but I don't know about it. There may well be others. I want to thank all the persons who have been involved in Nemo. I left the office there just now, and the whole place is full with people working on one matter or the other, trying supplies for the shelters, dealing with this or that problem, tabulating information which comes in relation to damage to the houses and what's happening with water here or electricity there, what is happening with the sea surges, all of these things. Now, in respect of the sea surges, the marine notices are still in place. Stay away from the sea until you get it quickly, until you have it clear. I spoke to Billy Jeffers, the head of the meteorological services, just a few minutes ago before I came on the air, and he told me that he anticipates that sometime in the morning that matters should be sufficiently clear on the seas for persons who want to go down to the Southern Grenadines. He will make the judgment call on that. That's a technical matter. But I wanted to give some indication so that people can be prepared. But don't go until you hear officially from the authorities. But even so, the waters are going to be very choppy. I'm going to see what transportation is possible for me to get to Union and Canawan and Myro in the shortest possible time. The airport is not going to be open tomorrow. Argyle International Airport is not going to be open tomorrow because there has been some damage to the fence on the northern side, and they have some cleaning up to do. But they will be receiving any aircraft which wants to bring any particular emergency supplies. Hopefully, we will be back in business at the airport Wednesday afternoon, Thursday. Again, the airport authorities will indicate, but definitely the airport will not be open tomorrow. So that's where we are. I spoke to you about the airlines. I spoke to you about the seas. Spoke to you about water, about electricity, about housing, about government buildings, the extent of loss of life. I've spoken to you about the devastation in Union Island, the work which I've been doing, contacting various governments today, and of course the meeting which we're going to hold tonight for action and the opening tomorrow, with the caveat that, look, I don't want you to be able to come to work and say, well, you know, Ralph has given me the out, that if I don't come, it's no big thing. Well, it's a big thing, because you have to know if it's okay for you to come to work. I want something to be triggered in you. Yes, this is my country. I have to go there and play my part from very early. Everybody has to put his or her own shoulder to the wheel. But I understand perfectly if your housing situation is such, or your domestic circumstances make it very difficult for you to come to work tomorrow. I want us to recover together. I want us to have solidarity with one another. I want us to show love for one another. Build it together. This is what I'm asking for. And I'll tell you, I want you in your communities. Forget the little bickering about this or that. Let's get together and work. Let us do things together for the upliftment of yourself, your families, your communities, and our country. I don't know if there is any other matter to address, save and except to thank the private sector for cooperating with us thus far, and tomorrow to continue to cooperate with us and as we go along. For all the persons who work, I mean, here at 705 under very difficult circumstances, we have a number of persons who slept through the whole, who worked through the whole period there. They haven't gone home, trying to keep the communications going with the population, even when things are outside of their control and the communication went down, not because of them. I'm thinking about even like workers, the work which they're doing now, and the workers at the Water Authority, everybody and all those who in the shelters, just spare a thought for the managers of the shelters, the people who go to the shelters to work. They have families. They are doing this thing not for any money. I want people to appreciate this. These are remarkable individuals, and I want to thank all of them. If I've left out any category, you know, I'm sorry. They have the nurses, the doctors who have been doing yeoman work, everybody. Braxa, Ken Bartholomew and his team, they have been fantastic. People in the Ministry of Works, all over, and we have a platform, despite all the difficulties. We have a platform on which we can build further. Now I want to say something special about security. Look, this is a time when I know that there's some selfish, criminally minded individuals who want to take advantage of darkness, who want to take advantage of people's vulnerabilities to do things to hurt people or to get people's property, steal it. to the extent you're listening to me, please, don't go there. I am relying on your families and your friends and your own conscience. But be assured, the police are about. And I want to thank them for the work that they have done thus far. And the Commissioner of Police will be at the meeting tonight at 8:30 with us, but the security question is important. You see the frame in which the leadership of the country is seeking for us to build back better and stronger and firmer. We are not going to allow a tiny minority of individuals to derail us in any way at all. I want to give that assurance. Meanwhile, even your difficulties, let's be in good spirits. You know, the prophet Jeremiah advises the Hebrew people when they were in the hardship of Babylonian captivity, which we are not in, to be resilient, to be strong, to work together with a solidarity for themselves. This is what we are asking our people to do. And I want to hammer home that message over and over again. I'm grateful at a personal level that, and thankful that the roof at the residence of the Prime Minister didn't come off, so that no arrangements were made for me to go downstairs. I survived upstairs, but it was for a period of about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Oh, I tell you, as for everybody, it was something which required you to just be calm and keep your fears at bay. God bless. And thank everyone again. I will talk to you tomorrow sometime. Please forgive me if I'm short on some specifics with some of the damage. You don't expect me to have those at hand. I can only give you broad indicators. But from the indicators, we have suffered badly. And in particular areas like Union Island, for example, it has been devastating. God bless. And we get to work right away.
Before you wrap up, PM, there's just one area that's just outside of the state umbrella, communications. Have you heard from either Flow or Digicel, any of the service providers, on what's their status?
No, I haven't gotten any information from them. I don't know if Camilo has not reported to me, but he's the Minister of Information Technology. He hasn't reported to me whether they have been in communication with him. I'll find out tonight at 8:30. But obviously, that is an important question because, and look, I understand when systems went down, we had winds in excess of 130 miles per hour. So, but I'm sure that they will help in bringing back the communication infrastructure to a level that we can function in a proper way.
Thank you.
Thanks.